How do you choose the right AI sales tools when hundreds of new ones are launching every single month? Over the past 18 months, I implemented over 40 plus AI sales systems and analyzed over 126 AI sales tools to answer this exact question. So in this video, I'm going to reveal you exactly which tool are the most powerful for each category, show you how these tools integrate together, and break down exactly what you need, whether you are a solo founder or you're running a sales team. But before I dive into the categories, there is a really important thing that I need to mention. I didn't actually test this tool in isolation because what happens most of the time is that people choose the best tool in each category and then they start wonder why is not talking with another tool. So the reason and the way I test all these tools is making sure that they integrate in a system that is modular, so that grows with you. And the goal over here is not just focusing on a single automation piece, but instead is creating an AI sales operating system that gathers data from every client interaction, learns from what's working, improves your messaging, improves your go to market, and improves also your sales process over time. With that said, let's start with the data foundation because without this, everything else falls apart. The first category we're going to focus on is data orchestration. You can think about data orchestration as the brain of your AI sales OS. So those are the tools that connect all the other tools together. This can be used for building outbound campaigns, upgrading CRM automatically, researching prospect, or literally any kind of sales workflow that would otherwise require your manual work. So the first options for this and one of the most used tool right now in the market is Clay, which I literally define as a spreadsheet for go-to-market teams. So what you can do with Clay is essentially a Google Sheet where each row is a lead and you can easily enrich them with all sort of information or launch AI agent to create custom personalization at scale for your outbound campaign, but also you can do that for your CRM. This tool is really powerful because it's quite easy to prototype campaigns even if you're not technical, but it can become quite expensive at scale. So it makes sense if you are in middle market business or if you want to quickly prototype campaign to understand whether something works, and then later on you can scale that with other tools. So if you are just using the tool for a single use case, so for example, if you are creating outbound campaigns where you create case study personalization, for example, it would work as a validation step. So you can use this tool first, check out that it works, check out how to build the full system, and then after that, taking another tool so that you can actually scale the workflow, scale the personalization, and save hundreds of dollars each month. The next tool that we have over here is Anyden. Generally, there's a difference. There's a clear difference between Clay and Anyden. Clay is more of a go-to-market focus, meanwhile, Anyden is more of a general automation platform. So with Anyden, you can automate essentially everything you want. It's not just focus on sales. It's not just focus on go-to-market, but also other teams could enter and implement different things within Anyden. One of the couple advantages here, first off, is self-hostable. So that means that you can run the tool with your own server and save a lot of money in the process. As I mentioned before, this is not just focused on sales, so also other teams can have access and build a different automation on top of that. And generally, the best approach is to balance this kind of tool together with Clay, because you can use the next tool that we have on the list is Anyden. There's a little bit of a difference between Clay and Anyden. Clay is mostly focused on go-to-market, meanwhile Anyden is an automation platform. So that means that you can automate all sort of things, not only related to go-to-market. Uh, Within this automation platform, you can choose different integration. Obviously, you can automate CRM, sales calls analysis, research, enrichment, all sort of different things can be done directly within Anyden. The advantage of the tool is that first off is self-hostable, so that means that you can run the tool on your own server and set a lot of money for that. Also, other people within the team can have access to the tool, so there's a possibility as well. And the other thing is you can prototype in Clay, as I mentioned before, and then use automation for scale when something becomes a lot more expensive. On the flip side, Anyden is more technically demanding than Clay, and so you need to learn the platform a little bit in order to use that. The last tool that we have and the last option that we have is Claude Code. This is generally viewed as a coding tool, but it's probably an agentic platform that can be used in whichever way you want and whichever way you see fit. So um, the way this is using go-to-market orchestration tooling, and I will also do a video about that, is you can, for example, build custom scraper, you can perform research, and you can do all sorts of different things just by writing, or for example, just by using a microphone and talking to an agent. The next section that we have is data storage. This is where all your enriched information goes. You can think about this as the data knowledge where you collect every single piece of information about the prospect, about companies, about interaction, and everything is stored here. In general, the better storage system, the more your AI sales OS can learn and compound insights over time. In this area, there are two main categories that you can think about. You can think about data storage as a utility tool. So, for example, if you need to store already enriched leads, so if you enrich some leads and you want to save them in the tool, and later on you want to retrieve those, you can save a lot of money in that way. Or you can use this as an insight storing tool. So, for example, if you want to search information about previous campaigns that you launch, insights that you have about your market, sales calls analysis, all sort of information like that. This is the purpose of data storage as a tool. There are three options you can use here. The first one is Airtable, which is amazing for storing insights because it's quite simple to use. If you want, you can also build a CRM out of Airtable if you want, and they have dashboards, interfaces that you can use. So over there, you can essentially create mini apps using no code directly within Airtable. This is really, really powerful. The downside of this is not a tool built for massive scale, massive amounts of records that you want to contain over here. Personally, I wouldn't suggest, for example, using the tool to store leads because this is limited to 50K rows on the team plan and 120K rows on the business plan. And on top of that, the tool is really, really low when you have that kind of volume. So the best alternatives that I find are essentially these two, Supabase and NoCodeDB. The best solution for me is having those together and working with those together because Supabase is a database and a backend tool that can also be used to build full applications. And I feel like generally couldn't be intimidated for non-technical users. So meanwhile, NoCodeDB is essentially an Airtable alternative that you can self-host. So you can run this directly within your own service. My approach is generally using NoCodeDB as the interface. So seeing the beautiful interface similar to what Airtable has, but with the powerful database that Supabase gives you. So this is the approach that I generally use in this section over here. The last important element of the data foundation is the CRM. So over here, you can think about the CRM as the single source of truth when it comes to all your relationship, all your customer, or different information like that. So it's not just a place to store the contacts, but this is a place also that can be used to feed insights back into your orchestration layer. So, for example, when you have a deal that closes, that could go back directly within your data storage. You can collect more information about the specific company. You can collect more information about the whole sales process and then generate insights out of that. This is one of the way this is used within this ecosystem. So over here, the best tools, AI sales tools focused. Obviously, over here, there are a lot of CRMs in the market. The first one that I suggest is Atio because it's AI native. So it's an AI native CRM. It's built with a flexible data model. So that means that you can structure the system however you see fit. You can structure that for product like growth, product like sales, enterprise, whatever kind of sales motion that you're using. And then on top of that, you can also create AI workflows similar to what N8N has, for example. So this is directly within the CRM itself. So really, really powerful as a version. Another one that we have over here is Breakcode. So this is more of a smaller size CRM. This is more focused on like smaller agencies, individuals. One of the key features that Breakcode has is the multi-channel integration. So that means that you can use LinkedIn, email, Telegram, WhatsApp directly within the tool, and you can track the full customer journey directly within the single tool. And the last option over here is HubSpot. HubSpot for me is a very good CRM, even though it's a legacy CRM, if we want to say so. It's been around forever. It does everything, and the big advantage that I see over here is that the team is closely connected to OpenAI. So the founder is an investor of OpenAI, and what they are doing is they are always trying to integrate AI capabilities heavily as soon as they come out. So if you need to be more on the enterprise sales side, HubSpot may be a better choice for that. So after we have the foundation in place, the data foundation, is important to understand what actually feeds data into the system. And this is the outbound engine, the outbound execution engine. So over here, there are a lot of different categories. We will focus on email infrastructure to start first. So email infrastructure is what you need to set up in order to send thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of emails without being flagged as spam or burning your primary domain. Essentially is what we need to do in order to land in the inbox. And right now this has become more and more complicated with all sort of AI filtering, all sort of blockers. So it's really important to invest in this part, especially if you are running cold email. So there are a couple of different tools that you can choose over here. The first one is Zapmail. Um, by the way, these tools are very similar. Zapmail is more of a automated inbox setup solution. So you do everything from within an interface. You can buy the domain from the interface, set up the inboxes directly from there, and there's a lot of advantages of using the tool. To me, the main two ones is first off the API. So what you can do is you can potentially spin up new inboxes at scale and have a full process for doing setup automatically based on specific requirements if you really wanted to. And another really powerful feature is that they have the ability to buy pre-warm inboxes. So this means that most of the time you have to wait before starting to send out emails. By purchasing pre-warmed inboxes, you don't have this problem and you can start sending as soon as possible. The other option over here is cheap inboxes. Those are quite similar. The difference here is that you have people that actually handle your setup directly. So meanwhile, Zapmail is more of an automated solution, more of a SaaS solution. Cheap inboxes is more of a done for you solution where you give information and then someone will run the full configuration for you. The next two sections that we have over here are email enrichment, where the goal is to find content information for your leads, and then email verification. So it's verifying this information to make sure that it is reliable. We can send information to these people and all things of the nature. Again, over here there are thousands, probably not thousand, but more than 30 different solutions in the market. Generally, here I suggest you what I use most of the time. The first one is Prospeo. For me, it's really good value for the money, and it has a very good accuracy rate. Generally, the price is very good because it favors high volume. So if you're sending high volume, Prospeo could be a very good solution. Lead Magic is another tool. This is really powerful. The thing that is really interesting is the API that they have. They have a lot of different data options that you can use from the API that is not only related to email enrichment, but if you want, for example, LinkedIn information, if you want firmographics, finding if a person changed a job, finding a specific role within a business, those are all things that they have directly within their API. Last one in this category is TryKit. One of the reasons that I like this a lot is the fact that they have a pay-as-you-go model without any kind of subscription. So that means you only pay if you enrich emails or if you verify emails. The advantage here, you can load a lot of credits and run enrichment directly for that. And this is really powerful if you don't want to be locked in a subscription, if you're starting out, all things like that. And also they focus a lot on email deliverability. They do a lot of studies directly on email deliverability. So the tool is generally very powerful. When it comes to email verification, we have Million Verifier, which is a good option for bulk verification, and the other one is StrikeIt. Again, very good with a pricing that is quite similar to Million Verifier. The next section is email sequencers. Those are actually the tools that allow you to send email at scale. So within the tool, what you can do is you can create different campaign, you can create the copy, you can add the emails from your email infrastructure, and they handle all the sending, they handle the follow-ups, they handle the tracking of open rates, reply rate. This is a pure execution layer. So there are a lot of different tools again, also here in the market. Those are the three main ones that I suggest. The first one is SmartLead. I really love SmartLead because of the API that they have, and you will start to notice a pattern over here about what I love about the different tools. But the fact that they have an API, they have a powerful API that allows you to run all sort of things. It's exactly what is important for a AI sales OS that allows you to connect with whichever part of the system that you want. They focus a lot on deliverability, and also one of the features that they recently released is the database with a pay-per-send pricing. So what you can do over here is you can access the database. You can only pay for the leads that you are sending with that. Instantly, meanwhile, is another very famous tool. If you want to think about a decision, Smartly is more Android. Instantly is more like iOS. If you want more control, you can use SmartLead. Instead, if you want to have something more simple, you can use directly Instantly because it has a simpler interface and they also are built. They also have a built-in database. The last tool within this category is Email Bison. This is mostly focused on large volume. In the past, I worked with a lot of lead generation agencies, and a lot of them started to use Email Bison to send hundreds of thousands of emails at scale. So if you want something that is focused on scaling, Email Bison could be the right tool for you. The next section here is LinkedIn sequencers. When it comes to B2B, generally you are either focused on email or LinkedIn or both. So that is why I wanted to focus on these two. LinkedIn sequencer allow you to automate the connection request, sending messages, follow up, similar to what you would do on the email side of things. The most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to LinkedIn sequencer is you should look at established tools that do things in a proper way, because the risk that you have with running LinkedIn sequencer or tools that automate your LinkedIn is that they could get your account flagged or banned. So this focus is always really important to keep an eye on. The general two tools that I suggest in this area is, first off, Ahrefs. The reason why I suggest Ahrefs is that they have a lot of different integrations with Clay, N8N, MCPs, all sort of different things like that. And then they are also built for multi-sender. So what that actually means is you can use multiple LinkedIn accounts and you can scale that in that way. Because what could happen is if you run a single account and you're sending 100, 200, 300 messages per day, that is where the risk of having your account banned becomes real. The other option over here is Dripify. This is a simpler alternative that you can use. So that is generally a good alternative for the system overall. So we saw the foundation, we saw the execution. Now let's talk about the supporting layer, which is the data collection. Over here, we have two categories. The first one is scraping. So the idea of scraping is collect data from any public source available across the web. So if, for example, a new person fills up a form and enters your database, you want to understand more about them. So with scraping, what you can do is you can get their LinkedIn profile, you can find information about their company, you can get their most recent funding rounds, all different information like that. And all this information then is condensed directly in your data foundation. One of the tools that I suggest the most for this is Apify. The reason for that is they have a lot of pre-built scraper directly within their marketplace that you can use. So if you, for example, you want to scrape LinkedIn profiles, you can do that directly. If you want to scrape Google Maps, Amazon reviews, all sorts of different things like that, that is why this is really suggested. And on top of that, what you can do is if you have some sort of technical knowledge, you can build custom scrapers for whichever kind of website you want. You can do that directly by using Cloud Code, for example. The other tool that we have within this section is Zenro. This is mostly focused on how to scrape website. So if you're scraping tools that have anti-bug protection, complex JavaScript, rate limiting, or sort of different technical things like that, then Zenro would work really well as a tool. For 99% of use cases, to be honest, Apify works perfectly. If you are non-technical, you can do a combination of Apify plus Zenro, and that would cover pretty much everything within this session. Last session that we have over here is data intelligence. Over here, we have all the tools that capture and analyze insights from your sales calls and your meetings, because you can think about every single sales call as a data point, because within there you can find important information about objections, about messaging that works, about features that people care about, buying signals, or different things like that. And generally, all this information is stored in the heads of salespeople that are taking a call. And what you can do with this tool is you can externalize this information and give it to the whole team, store it into the data storage, and then reuse this information over time. In this category, those are the two main tools that I suggest. Attio also has a component related to data intelligence on top of that. The one that I use personally is Fireflies. First off, for transcription quality, which is very good. The other one is API that allows you to integrate with other tools, send the transcript to other tools, do all sort of analysis like that. And another tool that we have over here, which is a valid alternative, is Fathom, because it also has a very good in terms of quality of transcript, but it doesn't have a direct Apify access, only integrations through Zapier or different tools of that nature. So this is the complete AI sales stack. You have the foundation, you have the outbound engine, and then you have the data collection layer. As you can see, all this tooling is amazing, but having the right tools really means nothing if you don't know what you can actually build with them. So that is what exactly I cover in the next video, which you can check out here. Or if you're interested in working together, you can just click the first link in the description. Bye.